But the good news now, you don't get vaccine. Coronavirus, not all man in business. So, tell you people that way you like. On a member say, we all not safe, till we all not safe.
Penmore Physiotherapy and Rehabilitation Clinic is the first of its kind in the Gambia. We have inpatient service and outpatient services. Penmore admits patients and they have intensive rehabilitations. That means treatment 3 times a day for 5 days, from Mondays to Friday, and on Fridays they go to their families to spend time with them to have family. Outpatients come on regular appointments, probably 2 or 3 times in a week for treatment. We treat patients with arthritis, with back pain, stroke patients, fractures or after fracture operation, paralysis of all types, and we do treat both young and old patients. Penmore Physiotherapy gives quality physiotherapy treatments to Gambians because we are qualified physios from different parts of the world.
If you want to receive monies from UK, Europe, USA, Canada, Switzerland, and the rest of the world, Supersonic's money transfer has got you covered. With the largest payout network in the Gambia, you can now receive your monies anywhere you are, from Kartong to Koina, with less hassle. Yes! You can receive monies from your family and friends in UK, Europe, USA, Canada, Switzerland, and the rest of the world with our safe, secure, fast, and convenient service that offers you the largest selection of payout locations in the Gambia. Supersonic's money transfer. We are currently in 34 African countries and counting, giving you quality money remittance services that are second to none. Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonic's money transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching or listening to us from. This is the Nyohobai Show, coming your way from the Gambian Talents TV. Ousman Joof is your host. Nilen koide ferek waktu boneka. It's been a minute. I didn't have Nyohobai, but back because our country is at a crossroad where we have a lot of issues going on. The past 1 month, of course, has been very was a mixed feeling for the Gambia, since we have the AFCON going on and the country was united because of sports. However, since after Cameroon won the boys, of course, we've seen mixed feelings going on. But something important has been happening in the country, or has happened the past couple of weeks. And of course, one of the first people to break the silence is who we're sitting with or having a chat with today. That's Omar Wally. In the past, last week, sometimes rumors came out that something was happening in Fonyi, and it wasn't clear. I remember I was on the phone with Farsamba when she got a call, from Red Cross, trying to confirm that news. With time, we saw a video done by you that, in fact, something was happening in Fonyi. I saw somebody like Haruna Drame saying that, the rebels from Casamas or something like that had actually mounted a checkpoint on the Trans-Gambia Highway or something along those lines. I would like to discuss that with you. You were one of the first people who came out and warned President Barrow. To you, he was... is it true to say that you said President Barrow was not considering the plight of the Gambian people? Is it true to say that? Was it, or insensitive? Barrow was insensitive of the Gambian people at the time.
Thank you so much. Yes, because considering the nature of the incident, it happened. I woke up in the morning. I received a call that this incident happened in Fonyi, and I tried to reach out to the government, a minister in the government, and inform him, "Are you aware of what is happening in the south of the country?" And he said, "Well, I don't know." And when I informed him about what happened, he said, "Okay, the version I receive and yours is completely different." And he said, "But we are investigating, and I will get back to you, or you call me in a couple of hours." So as usual in the Gambia, it's difficult to get information at times. So I call, but as I was following up with that particular minister, events were unfolding at a rapid pace in Foni, and from a standoff from rebels surrounding the Senegalese forces to people moving their families from Baleng to Kapa, from Kapa to other villages, up to an extent of these people mounting a checkpoint in the Gambia. So that was a concern, because what like the English man always said, when your neighbor's house is on fire, you have to get up. And one thing to make it clear, I was speaking in my capacity as a Gambian, not as a journalist, because when I wanted to report that, I put that on BBC and on my Facebook page, that this is what is happening, and we'll come up with more information. But at the time, the information was, the situation was volatile, and I was working on other stories as well. So it took me almost 3 days when I came with that Facebook Live and tell Barrow, you have to do this, because the Senegalese president issued a statement on his Facebook page saying that they lost 2 people. But there was nothing from the government of the Gambia. And the incident happened in a Gambian territory. And I think it was right and proper for our government to come up and tell Gambian people, this is what is happening. Even just to tell people there is an incident happening in the country, so that people can be mindful. The rebels torn people away and stoned. So you're in charge of a country when such incidents are happening, people need to know. That's why I'm like, Mr. President, your government and everybody, I think you should inform people. The plight of Foni, the plight of people in that area is very important. Yes.
So do you think it was AFCON that was in fact distracting the president and the government, or it was just a matter of Foni, as you stated in your video? We will come to that in a little while. Is it because it's Foni, or is it because they are not even aware, or is it because the thing is downplayed, or was it AFCON that was actually distracting the government?
Well, I don't think anything should distract government when it comes to national security, because if you're thinking about watching a football game in your house, then there is peace in a country. Somalia, their football field, nobody play football there. It's all the grass and trees grew up there now. So people don't play because they don't even have time for that. So even if they tell you that there's an incident at Denton Bridge, it's supposed to be, the people should be informed. But a region where foreign forces are stationed, a region where there was a confrontation, a standoff, a gun battle between rebels and some call them separatists, whatever you call them, some call them secessionists, where there was a confrontation between MFDC and Senegalese forces, and your citizens are running away. I don't think there should be anything that should distract you. That's supposed to be the top priority, because if the things spill over, certainly it's going to go through the provinces and in the city. And that was what we're trying to avert. Let them put the house in order, or let them contain the situation and make sure that people stay where they are. They are safe as.
Let's unpack this. You mentioned
Right.
Senegalese forces. A lot of people are confused. Senegalese forces from Senegal came into Gambia to, of course, attack or had this confrontation with the MFDC forces. Or, in fact, is it the economic forces in the Gambia who had this confrontation with MFDC forces?
So when you say Senegalese, there are Senegalese who are protecting the president. The president's security lies in the hands of Senegalese at State House. And
well, the
you
correction,
have
I would say, wouldn't that be economic?
ECOWAS. Those are the people. I spoke to the Nigerian general when he came. That was when 5,000 troops came to the Gambia. But the ones in Fon, you know why we call them Senegalese forces? They said it was in 2019 when they were amalgamated into the economic forces. So you can see even not many people are aware. The lawmaker from that area said he wasn't even aware of that. So the reason why I'm saying Senegalese forces, these are the ones stationed in Foni. The Senegalese, let me be specific here. The Senegalese forces in Foni, in Biam to be specific, had a confrontation with the MFDC.
Senegalese forces in Biam, or economic forces, that still has to be cleared, Omar. They are still operating under the umbrella of economic. or are they in fact operating? Is this just a bilateral between Gambia and Senegal, or in fact is it the economic forces? You
Well, what
insisting
we will
Senegalese?
on
Are they under
okay,
are they officially under Senegal, or are they officially there under economic?
what we understand, what they told us initially, they are bilateral forces, and that's what we stick to. That's why we said Senegalese forces. They are bilateral forces. So it was after the incident. Most people have been informed that they were, being reintegrated or amalgamated with the ECOWAS forces who came to flush Jammeh out. So I don't know whether that is clear to you now.
Yes, it's indeed gonna be for the sake of the listeners and the viewers, because as we are hearing it, yes, ECOWAS forces, economic forces, and I'm asking this because people don't know the difference. There are a good number of people, you'll be surprised probably, who believe that Senegal made special arrangements, get forces into the Gambia for them to launch an attack from Gambia into Casamas to MFDC. That's what I'm trying to clear here.
No, that's why I said the one station in Biam, that is the information we got. The information I initially got, somebody told me there is a confrontation between the Gambian army and the rebels.
Mm-hmm.
And but you cannot just, as a responsible journalist, you cannot just jump and start reporting things like that. You have to verify. You have to know what is happening. So along the way, the thing we got information. I got information, that in fact these people, they don't understand. They're having the difficulties to distinguish between the Senegalese, the military fatigue of the Gambian army and the Senegalese. Some of them, they don't know. So it was later that they understood that it wasn't indeed Gambians, but Senegalese.
So it is said that it was actually the Senegalese forces, as you call them, were chasing a truck carrying logs.
Right.
And the truck went into Casamas. Can you unpack that for us?
Well, the information we got initially was a truck driver with a carrying timber came out, was being chased by the Senegalese.
Carrying timber from where?
Well, from the border end. There is a border village there. So he was chased, and they even destroy someone here. He's constructing a house for his family, and they destroy so many building materials. And because the village is next to the border, they came in there and they were chasing him. So unknowing to the Senegalese forces, they stepped into a rebel control area, because I was made to understand that that's where Salif Sadio has his main camp. So a handful of them, Senegalese, came, and they were being surrounded by these the MFDC. So eventually things did not turn well, because for them, they were chasing a truck driver like it used to happen in the Gambia. There were many times they will come into operation and either seize even at the Biam point, or sometimes they will go and get the truck driver and seize the logs from him and so on. So this thing did not happen that way. Eventually, they ran into a rebel control area, and those people surrounded them, and the problem started.
From what we know, how many how many soldiers were involved in this?
You mean the Senegalese side?
Senegalese, yes.
Well, we don't know the exact number, but what we know, 2 of their men died, and 7 are still being held captive by the MFDC.
Okay.
Right.
How did it get to the point that the MFDC soldiers ended up manning a checkpoint in Gambia? That is scary.
Well, it is, because this is an area that has not been under the we have a military garrison in Kanilai, but that area, because it's a borderline, is under the control of the Senegalese forces. So what we had, the confrontation got out of hand, and because most of these border villages are not far from the main highway, it's like a kilometer or so. So along the way, due to confrontation and so on, they came all the way to the Gambian checkpoint was mounted, and I heard that the Gambian army had to intervene, and appeal to this MFDC and ask them to dismantle their checkpoint.
Interesting, to the extent that they will get into Ghana, were engaged. Eventually, we saw that I mean, a delegation was sought. ECOWAS intervened and went to have a negotiation or initiate a negotiation between to release some of the captives, and there were Gambian officials among them. What do you know about that?
You mean the Gambian? What the Interior Minister said, the Gambians they have been released and are undergoing a medical checkup before they will be reunited with their families. So as far as we know, that's what the minister said, and the story was carried out, published by the Standard newspaper.
I'm talking about, of course, the negotiations that were made as far as trying to get the captives, the Senegalese soldiers and stuff being released, and of course the dead bodies obviously being released by Senegal. Some negotiation efforts were initiated by ECOWAS. That's what I'm saying. What do you know as far as that is concerned?
Well, I heard there were some military, it involves some ECOWAS and military personnel and so on. But as you know, most of those information are shrouded, we don't know much detail. But the interview that emerged from after the incident, the man said they still have some people. So that's what we know. And the government said they set up a task force. They're investigating. So let's wait and see what will be the outcome of their investigation.
Let's focus back on your video and the latest that has happened there. You talked about series of things. Earlier, you mentioned Fonyi, the Senegalese military being stationed in Fonyi alone, and you are concerned. Why are you?
Yes, I'm concerned. The main reason why, because last time I spoke about this, I think a Gambian was involved in this timber business, and they went into Casamas. They seized his truck, and it was burned down. And but coming to the latest, since 2017, we have seen how this is the only place where these forces are stationed, and the confrontation has been ongoing between the people of that area and these foreign forces there. So my concern is this: if you sign an agreement with a foreign country, because your citizens eventually are the most important thing. Senegalese can protect their country. They can protect their border. They don't necessarily need to come to the Gambia. We have a border. There are so many villages in Casamas where these Senegalese can put their troops there. We all know Jammeh has been accused of backing, financing, and supporting the MFDC. He has been accused of that. So now that Jammeh is not in power, they're like, okay, the only way to cut their income, source of income, is to cut this timber business, the charcoal and so on. But you don't necessarily need to come to Gambia to do that. You can do that in Senegal. You can do that in Senegalese territory. And the most interesting part is, during Jammeh's time, Gambia is accused of backing the MFDC, supporting MFDC. Now, under Barrow, Gambia is accused of siding with the Senegalese government and fighting the MFDC. So what is stopping Senegalese to have control in their border like they have it in other parts of other parts of Senegalese region? It doesn't make sense. And there's been an outcry throughout that the relationship between, they have seen how confrontations and has been happening between the people of that area and the foreign forces. So it's supposed to be reviewed. And how long will they continue to stay? So my concern is, now you have a military in the Gambia. Why not you put them into use? But you have a military in Kanilai. Some other people should. So you are telling me, these people are here only to protect the timber. Because as far as we know, as far as you know, and if you tell me, these people did not go after that. There was a rebel attack that they, kind of try to. There was an assault at that end where they protect the citizens. I don't hear any of that. So only thing they are doing there is the timber thing. They're trying to, stop the timber. So, and this is something that they can do in their country. So that's my concern. And our people will be more comfortable to deal, even despite that you put them there. The timber is coming. Put them in their own country. You don't allow our trucks to go into Casamas. and you don't allow our trucks to leave from Casamance to come to Gambia. It's simple. And you leave the Gambia Armed Forces to take up charge of the security of that end. I don't see anything wrong with that.
In fact, you made mention of, or you accused Macky Sall of bragging about handling what Senghor or Abdou Diouf and Abdoulaye Wade could not do with Gambia. That Macky says it, and it's a political move, and that's why they send the forces into Gambia. How can you unpack that for us?
Yeah, politicians always try to score, political score points and so on. We all know Gambia divides Senegal into north and south. Mm-hmm. It's not only Foni, but even the bridge.
Yes.
We know what happened in this country because there was a confederation. I wasn't born then. I read a lot about that, and you know about the confederation. Mm-hmm. They always try to, to kind of put us in a tight corner for their interests. So that's the reason. So if Macky is trying to, because that is the case. This rebellion has been ongoing for almost 40 years, from 1982 up to date. So Senghor, Abdou Diouf, Abdoulaye Wade, and they all failed. But he's the only one who succeeded in bringing these people here. So it's a plus for him to say, okay, at least no matter how bad the situation, if it is at least 100, we are able to cut it to 50%. That is a plus for him as a politician. And he can get a lot of things because this Casamance thing is a concern for many Senegalese. And I don't know whether you are favorite Angola, Cabinda, and volatile regions in Africa are always like this. Cabinda has the same issue in Angola and so on. So he's a political, number one, he's trying to score political point. Number two, another way of stabilizing his country. And all that is an added advantage for him. I did not talk about politics. What I was talking about, how politicians can, put their interests at the expense of other people.
Well, a lot of people credit Omar Wally for trying to dig deep and say the truth. And most would say, if Omar says it, it happened. When Omar say it, he only needs to ask people, when he asks people to jump, they will only ask how high and not why should we jump. People have credited Omar to that extent. So what is the source of this information? You claim Macky has been boasting about that and said this politically to say that, well, he assured Senegalese people that the others haven't succeeded and he will succeed in taking care of it. What is the source of information? Where did Omar get that?
Well, so you want journalists to come and disclose to you, like somebody who called me and said, this is happening, I should come and tell you that here. Of course, I will not do that. Okay, let me make it clear. Maybe most people don't know because I'm a Gambian. I work here, but I also have connections. I talk to many, important people in the region and beyond. Even in Asia, I travel. I do journalism, not only in this country, but because I'm not like any other people to be putting things outside. I meet X, Y, Z. No. But I have sources, I have informants. There are so many things happening. Maybe at the time you don't know, even during the political impasse. Gambia and beyond. I might be small here, but also I earn some people's respect. And people do reach out to me. If you hear what the language, the vocabulary coming out of Fonyo and that, because for them, most of the journalists don't care about that because it's Fonyo. Somebody is telling me now they are moving from one village, evacuating women and children from one village to another. And this is happening. And it's like, I did not only...
So you were getting real-time news. You were getting information in real time.
Yes. So, and I also made a mention of something. Because, there are certain things when it happens in this country, if it doesn't involve certain category of people, the so-called elites, people don't care about it. If this thing happened in a certain part of the Gambia, the reaction will be different. But because it's one part and they've been viewed in a different lenses, that's why people don't care. But this is supposed to be a national discussion. That this is people are talking about sovereignty, that Gambia's sovereignty has been threatened. Because no matter how bad the situation was or is, these rebels, Gambians will tell you, there was never a time where they came and attacked a Gambian village. Gambia has always played a neutral part, as far as we know. So a situation like this happened, and it seems like nothing happens in this country. That is scary. What
So
happens
to you, Macky Sall or Senegal, in fact, did not facilitate these military officers to come to Gambia to help the Gambia after the post-impasse, but instead they send them there primarily to represent Senegal's interests.
Certainly, yes. They are for Senegalese interests.
They're there for Senegalese interests.
Right.
But they are protecting President Barrow every day, every time. They are the ones close to him. They move with him, the State House. I mean, a lot of people are concerned that our security are not given their due. And you will come to that next. You mentioned that in your video. They are the ones protecting President Barrow.
So who was protecting President Barrow before they come in? These were not even trained soldiers. Ordinary people were protecting him, and he was safe. And that time was more volatile because Jammeh was here. Jammeh was still in charge. He has everything. So that's why he was even evacuated. But even before that time, before Barrow left this country, it was ordinary Gambians. Not most of them are even qualified military officers, or even trained, or they are not even military personnel. So what is so special about Gambia? Are we at war? Is there a civil war in this, God forbid, is there a war in this country that the president's security should be in the hands of foreign forces? Because they were given a mandate. So you came, flush Jammeh. Before your arrival, Jammeh left this country. Make sure Barrow comes back. So Barrow is here, but they brought Barrow back and make sure the population is safe. The economic said, okay, we don't need 5,000. Let's cut it down. It was downsized. So what is your responsibility as a president? You're supposed to, if you don't have a mistrust, make sure what you are supposed to do, you do it on time. Reform the military, if that is something that you are not comfortable with. But you cannot rely entirely on foreign forces. And I said this in 2021. So people think that I was instilling fear. I wasn't. Look, there was 5,000 French forces in Mali. There are, these Sahel countries, you have the insurgency is going on. France is helping them. The Chadians are there and so on. But when the people of that country said, we don't want Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, what happened? It was an imam. It was not an army officer. It was an imam who triggered the revolution. So I think it's better we sit as a nation, as a country, to look at where we stumble, where our problems are, and move forward. But we cannot continue relying entirely. And let me give an example. You see, when there was an upsurge in crimes in the country a couple of months ago, last year, what did the president say? He said the National Guard should be on standby to come and deal with the situation at hand. So if you can tell them to come and do that, why not they'll be in charge of your security?
There has been several discussions or instances in which government claim the security situation of the country is volatile. They've set up a security sector reform committee, of course, at some point headed by Maifati when he was advisor to the security sector reform. Validation was done on everything. They have a document at hand. I mean, not much has happened with it, but they said that is the concern. Obviously, we had the TRRC going on. We have other reform processes that we are going on, from the Janet Commission to TRRC and all of these things where, I mean, the country hasn't healed yet. And because the country hasn't healed, we are sitting on a time bomb, and it's only necessary that we have the support for the maintenance of peace. They are not peacekeepers. They are maintaining the peace of the country.
So because those things are happening, they should not reform the military or reform the security sector. Yeah, we had the most terrible stories, horror stories from the Truth Commission, but there was no instant where you hear somebody, okay, somebody will sit and say, I killed 5, 6 people, or I killed somebody's brother and sister and so on. But there was not a time where somebody, pick up arms and said, I'm going to attack that person. I think they are just window dressing. They are just hiding behind that. But the best thing for us, I think they should carry on with what they told us that they want to do, is to reform. So if you think that there are some elements in the army, or how do you want to carry out that reform? Because you cannot continue relying on foreign forces. It doesn't make sense.
The former EU rep in the country, Attila Laios, I know you know him, you've interacted with him, had alleged in 2019 or 2020 that in fact the security sector reform is not felt by the ordinary citizens of the country at the time. You were aware of that statement, right?
Well, I met him many times. We had meetings many times. And I don't think it's only been felt before, even 20, but even now, people don't even feel it. Because, if you don't communicate, with people, they won't understand what is happening. Look, you were in the media. The only major thing they came out and they told us, like, Omar Sajo is the son of Salif Sajo. That's the only thing. So, but our problem is beyond that. Omar was established that, Omar is a Gambian. Though he came, how he came into the army is another thing. But should your entire security sector reform, should you base it only on one person? That because X, Y, Z, you blow that out of proportion. He's not a Gambian son of. So what? If he's a son of Salif Sajo, that is one thing. But it was also established. It was later established. He's not the son of Salif Sajo. So you should go beyond Omar Sajo. You should go beyond other things. You want to see improvements.
In fact, talking of which, Salif Sajo had also won during that saga, an allegation about Omar Sajo's situation. Salif Sajo had interviews in which he warned the Gambia government against this and what is happening. And he said, guns don't know anybody and they don't talk. And he warned them seriously about what can potentially happen. I had these videos queued because we don't have time. I'll do a special show in which I will play them. But Salif Sajo had actually warned the Gambia government exactly about a year ago to not allow such a thing to happen. And that if it happened, it can be bloody and Gambia is going to regret it. Because he's a fighter and he will fight.
And that's what we don't want in Gambia. We don't want because one thing I was trying to put across, telling Barrow, look, don't allow our country to be used as a battleground for these people. They have their problem. Let them solve it in their own country, period. Look, most people don't know. This is a peaceful region in mainland Africa. There was a problem when Siad Barre's government was overthrown in Somalia. People tried to fix that country. They still could not. Kenya sent their forces. You know what ended up happening? They end up turning against Kenyans. The world's largest, biggest refugee camps are in that part of the country, that part of the world. That is Kakuma and Dadaab. So that's why we should nurture the peace, the stability we have in this country. So, but because people are so emotional, when you talk, they think you just attacking someone. No, this is my bad country. This is where I belong to. This is where I can say everything. I have no business in what happened in Senegal. I cannot tell Senegalese what to do. But if there is something that is bothering me, you know what happened in this country during the election, before the election? There was even a shortage of foreign currency because people think there's going to be an instability. People were not they were not anticipating a peaceful election.
Right.
Some people withdrew, businessmen took out all their valuables from their stores. Some of them left the country. The same thing happens during the political impasse. Myself and many other people did not leave because even if you put SN Brussels, me and my family, we cannot fit in. And where are we going? So the best thing for all of us, let's have peace in our country. We stay and we enjoy. we can manage it, but we cannot manage instability, because there is a saying, in time, when there is crisis, even the king can lose his word. So why not we maintain what we have? Anywhere you go, those who know the Gambia, they will tell you it's known for its peace and stability. So why should we allow somebody's interest to jeopardize that one for us?
You said there is peace in your video. You said we all know that it is not as bad. The Gambia is generally a peaceful place. Are you saying that? I mean, just because you're talking on general terms, or is the Gambia in fact peaceful? Every single day we are hearing different crimes happening. I mean, from rapes to robberies, even daylight robberies are happening. People are being kidnapped. People are being killed. I mean, different things are happening in the country. As Attila Layo said, that the security sector reform is not felt by ordinary Gambians. I mean, but you said the Gambia is generally peaceful.
Yes.
I mean, how do you reconcile that?
Well, he's a diplomat. He has his own argument. When we talk about, there is nowhere in the world where you don't have those elements will be there. The petty crimes. Well, that's everything. And some countries are worse than Gambia. I live in Nigeria. I remember a day, German Chancellor was coming to Nigeria, and I was in Abuja with my colleague. I was working DW assignment. They said my colleagues should go to the airport because the Chancellor is coming and interview her. So I should go to one of the northern states and talk to people how the Boko Haram insurgency affected them and what support they want the German government to do and so on. I just decided to. I drove to Nasarawa State. It's not far from Abuja. So when I spoke to a few people, and I know how bad the situation is there. And it was time for Friday prayers. My colleague told me, I told him, let's go back. We can, do the Friday prayers in Abuja. He said, no, we will miss the Friday prayers because the traffic and so on. Because I don't want to perform that Friday prayers in Nasarawa because I was concerned. Because days before me going there, they blew up a garage where you have these Damfos, the Kekenapet, So, he said, no, let's just go. And so I perform ablution and I pray outside. I perform because I was worried about the insecurity in that country.
You would pray at the mosque.
Yeah, no, at the veranda, because number one, he said, let's go. And I said, I don't speak Hausa. But the bottom line is, if anything was happening on Friday, at least I can come back home with at least a limb. So you see how bad the situation is in that country. So people don't know. Yeah, so that is it. So that is my main concern.
So as far as the military are concerned, do you believe they are happy? The Gambia Armed Forces, they are happy with the presence of ECOMEC in the country?
No country.
Senegalese forces, as you would call them.
No. Let me put this thing generally now. No forces will be happy with something that you can do, and they ask somebody to come and do it for you. Certainly, even you will not be happy. You will not be happy with that.
Right.
So I'm not insinuating anything, but look, this what they are doing now. People can do that. They can do even better than some of these people. Because my journalism career started at the Observer. I covered the security for many, many years. I know what they're capable. They travel out of this country for peacekeeping, for peace enforcement in other parts of the country, and they have been credited. So if they can do that in those parts of the world, East Timor, Liberia, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, why not Gambia? What is so special? Are we at war with any country? No. Our only problem was someone lost election and refused to accept. And they asked these people to come and, force him out of office. I think that problem should be solved. Should not go beyond more than 2 years. That problem should be solved.
Now, somebody said he's a UDP supporter on the burden. And obviously, sharing your videos in some of their platforms and talking about it. And when you made the video, it went viral when you talked about it. Is Omar, in fact, UDP? Are you just coming as a UDP supporter to, I mean, say these things, or as you stated, a concerned Gambian citizen?
When I was talking in my capacity as a Gambian. You saw it. Many other people. I did not tell people, okay, I'm coming to Facebook Live in 2 hours' time. No. I did not talk about politics. No. Something that is concerning this country. That's what I spoke, against and said, this is the problem we face. So people are entitled to their opinions. You PAOs, you have been labeled here to support party A, B, or C.
Indeed.
Myself and many other journalists. So my concern, the message I was trying to put across was to Adam Barrow and to not any other person. Not you, not any other person, but the of this country. And whatever complaint we have, he's our president. He's the one we should talk to. He's the one who is representing us. He's the one who can solve that problem. Not any of these people outside there.
So tell me a little bit about that, the challenge you face in terms of the inconsistency in people labeling you as a journalist, or, I mean, when you report on any issue, I mean, it having divergent views and opinions. I mean, how do you see that?
Well, but this is
I'm
Gambia.
sure UDP had labeled you NPP at some point in the past, or another, to have belonged to another camp.
If you want to receive monies from UK, Europe, USA, Canada, Switzerland, and the rest of the world, Supersonic's money transfer has got you covered. With the largest payout network in the Gambia, you can now receive your monies anywhere you are, from Kartong to Koina, with less hassle. Yes! You can receive monies from your family and friends in UK, Europe, USA, Canada, Switzerland, and the rest of the world with our safe, secure, fast, and convenient service that offers you the largest selection of payout locations in the Gambia. Supersonic's money transfer. We are currently in 34 African countries and counting, giving you quality money remittance services that are second to none. Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonic's Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics.
It's Jill Life Music.
Yeah, but vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. You all get vaccinated before it's too late. Vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. You all get vaccinated. No need to hesitate. No need to hesitate before it's too late. Can do love for say pour le faju. Why is garab banya faju kuchi denga haru. Suñ waref la pour ñu jog aaru. Ndax ñu daan feebar bili le mo raw fa kaaru. Get vaccinated pour nga aaru from getting COVID. Aar sa boppu ak sa dëkkandoo ba kenn du sik. Jël ko mooy lu wóor suñ buggee end this pandemic. Everything they look normal. Bye bye to COVID.
I know some ngole no tatay coronavirus. But I know some bad kairai di coronavirus. Jichoji pengu waja, pengu berambe nora, jakniti penora, way virus ay. E pengu way free, e fimoro, jichoji pengu waja, berambe nora.
Sasa mansilo, besa sotono, movi mokoi, besa sotono, fankanta kurto, monye buka farano, foisi fantanka, ye vaccine sonota, kamodo lutanka, besa sotono. Dara por condara de boyo, dara maudo dara pay kunjoni. Ndara balendara porto yo jaka. Ndara marto ndara basudo. Ime pengo den. Dande ore men dande fai bebe jaka. Gare pengo den. Dande ore men dande fai bebe. Yandi dande nene. Dande baba.
Vaccino yinka kura wanyima tumoye fonse vaccino yinka dunia beja kali telefonse vaccino yinka kelele fonse vaccino yinka ni kura njol buka balafa abuka saramola komi ko karafa ani fika jatol le jatamota jato konko le kajatafa bimola koldum ko balafa kana balang kubake solla ko balana dunia beba soron
vaccine binyuna tawadeliko boko jelule lor nyanga nekal
ke Kenya soronda nga military angana mpate nga corona kata ya anakari idada khandi do dunasu ya awagambi kari ona corona ke ona kari
Adenyo nene vaccine den ko jelal manu men yo nenen ko emen lady men yimbe men di mimbaki lo den liwen o nyaw bondo lady men yo vaccine den ndanyu kura ngo keleno lancho nimange kelenti ndanyu kura ngo bainola ningani yolo mange kelenti bala fabel ngola bala hu balimbe bota fasakile ngola bala hu kanyu kura ngo baimbala fasa bakzindo bengo dumbala jamali mansai jamali fa anikadi malani kura ngola jamali niye pengu itadi solola malani kura ngola jamali kule ko kodi nyini rangolum malani kura ngola ngadendi ngola ko vaccine ota sadankani kura ngola
fumne dara doxatut kune am soxla buga gis mu faju no hesitation dawal jël commences bul aju lembe aduna besun fit to talk but we can't stay home cause we gotta go to work get vaccinated to knock it out get our normal lives back we can't walk it out
Sifuda dali onyao kasali pia ma vaccine kwa peja bali